Okay, check, baby, 1, 2. Okay, so it does seem like it's working now. I'm gonna keep this going. My little puppy's got a squeaking toy, so that might jump in the background. But welcome back, y'all. This is gonna be the 7th week. It is October 27th. It's a little late, and I had a busy night. I don't want to get too much into it, but I just got back. The little Nucky. I just got today the final recordings for the quarterly current events explained in irreverent poems, or the QCEP, for the third quarter. Those are the poems that I wrote, and then I got a guy. His name is Nick Furka, Furka, and he did the narration. I think he's got a cool voice. I like his energy. And anyways, I want to play some of his stuff. I'm going to play one of the poems now. And then I'm going to think about which chapter to pick. I'm going to play a couple of cuts from there. And then I'll play another one of his. Hey, a little dog in the background. All right. I'll be back in a little bit. Peace.
Need those reviews. I need those reviews or I'll lose my job. It's the stars ain't 5, the manager's a slob. Not a 1, 2, or 3, and expect to stick around. If you need more hours, how's a fake complaint sound? Don't take it personally, just do it better. You had too many chances. Resignation letter. But it's a bullshit job. You'll quit without notice. The boss won't care. He's banging a hostess. Toying over is cheaper than grinding it out with an annoying hourly, regardless of clout. Don't forget the barbecue sauce or expect an angry call. Even if on Christmas Day, double time pay ain't small. These jobs don't matter. You know it's the truth. Trading time for nickels, insurance won't cover your tooth. Dare them to replace the smartest guy in the room? Who's gonna do my job? Remote sweep a broom? Automate away. Let's see how that goes. Who's gonna refill those fries? New manager Twinkle Toes? Who do these people think it's worth their time to review? A place they don't like, as if they have a clue. Why do they think we care about what they think? We have enough going on dealing with a broken sink. The customer needs to be hungry, but we have a ton to do before we feed anyone worried about a fucking review.
Okay. So that was obviously I wrote that poem, and Nick narrated it, and he did well. He also he works in a kitchen, so he had some experience there. Um, I wrote it basically because for we have not, knock on wood, I do this every time. I'm like, oh gosh, we haven't gotten a bad review, and then we get a bunch of bad fucking reviews. But yeah, no, we that's what it that I wrote that because it took the pain away from reading the reviews of people complaining about our people being rude or getting their feelings hurt or getting their order wrong. And man, I get it. I think the customer should pretty much, they're paying for the perfect transaction. Uh, our employees, half of them are wonderful, awesome people, and I really do. They don't. Some of them got PTSD. Some of them they've been abused. They've been verbally abused. But like the customer doesn't know how shitty the customer was right before them, or two before them, or 20 before them. So like, and they don't always recognize that the half of our staff that's been there for years, and the other half of our staff just got out of jail. They're gonna go to jail in a couple of weeks. One of the kids just went to jail. They've been sick or in a hospital or there somebody. There's always some crazy shit. So, uh, uh, it's really it's a crapshoot. It's like throwing darts. But anyways, uh, I want to play. I want to play one of the stories from the book, and maybe it's Maybe I'll pick the one. Man, I did the one in Puerto Rico. I did the one. Oh, you know what? Maybe I'll do the girl. So I did not meet this girl on the app. I met this girl while I was still drinking, and she was a she worked at the Sherry's Ranch in Pahrump. Okay, I'm gonna cut this one short and grab this phone, and I'll start playing some of that later. I hope y'all enjoy. Peace.
Chapter 2 Maggie May. Steal a car and go to Las Vegas. Oh, Billy Idol. I'm not sure what possessed me to chase after Laura or Maggie May from Sherry's Ranch in Pahrump, but I chased her for a few months. We didn't meet on the app. She wasn't looking for a sugar daddy, but she was the first sex worker I dated. I got her real name at the airport, but wouldn't realize she had a stage name until the first time I went to her house. I saw several Rubbermaid storage boxes with Maggie taped to the top, like when a football team travels and packs up the gear. She mentioned loving the flexibility in her job, working 1 week on and having the next week off unless someone makes an appointment. Years later, I thought I saw her working at the Walmart on Fort Apache. We passed each other so fast, and I didn't look back. I'm not trying to punch down if it was her. I'm happy she found a steady job, and I hope she quit drinking too. I was a full-blown raging drunk when we met, and she was going through a similar phase. This was after the two hookers robbed me in Caesars, but before I crashed into the desert at the end of Las Vegas Boulevard. We had several cocktails and multiple shots, but no food that first night in the airport. Who keeps track before getting on a plane? It's why the single or double question is such an easy upsell in airport bars. Most people can't justify the buzz of a single being enough before flying. Nothing crazy happened at the airport, but I did get her number and a kiss on the cheek before she got on the plane. She was loaded, and it was a sloppy cheek kiss catching the side of my lips. She was loud with the crew, nearly missing her flight because we were slamming drinks. Short, fake boobs, flat butt, blonde hair, Texas accent, and sassy. We talked about her fantasy football teams, the baseball players she dated, sports betting victories, and the stock market. Another guy's gal. Her teeth...
All right, I'm gonna do this one again. It didn't seem like it was recording very loud, but I cut that last one off as I was describing the girl's teeth because I didn't pick up on it at first, but they were probably dead from smoking crack or meth or something like that. I may just wind up playing this whole story again, and I'll chop it up. I might. I don't think I'm gonna come back on. I'm gonna chop it up and play a little bit more of the story with the girl from Sherry's Ranch, and then I'm gonna finish it up with another poem from Nick Furka. I mean, I wrote the poem. Nick is narrating it, but yeah, I'm a little tired, so I don't. And I think it would be cooler if I had somebody join me for this thing. So we might do I'm gonna try to get somebody for next week so I can have a little a co-host or somebody else to shoot the shit with. So, anyways, hope y'all enjoy. Thanks again for listening. If you go, like I said, it's still the bounties thing's open. If anybody gets the audiobook, and send me an email, and if I get the bounty because you use my Audible link, will comp you $500 of beers and daiquiris and burgers and chicken and whatever you want down here in the French Quarter. So enjoy the rest. Have a good night. Peace.
Were a little crooked, which is common in Vegas, so I didn't think it was because they were dead from smoking crack or meth until near the end. She spent that week in Houston and the following week in Pahrump, and sometime in between sent me a barrage of naked photos. Then she sent a link to her website and bookings page at Sherry's Ranch. I spent a long time looking it over and it didn't run me off. I read all of her reviews, which were kind of hot. She had a specific fan base. I was most impressed by how many guys celebrating their 21st birthdays with her had positive reviews about their experience. Being known for taking young men's virginity made her extra hot since her main customer lacked previous partners. She planned to be back in Vegas the following week, and we made dinner plans. I think she slow-rolled me, allowing an out if the photos and website were too much. She sent her address and thankfully lived nearby, around West Tropicana and El Capitan. I was expecting to get drunk and have fun catching up from the last couple weeks, but I'll never forget when she opened that front door. Her boobs were hanging out of a candy-striped dress pulled down to her waist. When she curtsied to welcome me inside, I could see she had no panties. Her bald pussy was smiling at me when she turned around. I felt like I was walking into a porno scene once I stepped inside and she handed me a cocktail. We toasted and each took a sip before kissing and embracing. I palmed her bare bottom and squeezed firmly, pulling her tiny body close to mine. We shared a deep, drunk, blood-rushing kiss we couldn't duplicate over the next few months. She'd been drinking Absolute Mandarin, and kissing her tasted like making out on the neutral ground during Mardi Gras. She walked me through the living room towards the wide-open patio door to the backyard, and that's when I noticed the boxes. Maybe 5 or 6 stacked in the middle of the room, and my imagination was running wild. How many costumes did she have? Were those all props? Maybe they were sex toys. Outside were a couple of comfy patio chairs with thick cushions and a half-full ashtray that I scooped up to empty before lighting up a smoke. We both had near full packs of Marlboro Lights, and I wasn't worried about running out or them ruining my erection since I brought some blue pills with me. I wasn't expecting to see her naked and wasted before dinner, so I chewed half a generic Viagra when she went inside to make another round of drinks. I tried to give the pill a few minutes to kick in by ordering a pizza, but as soon as I hung up, we started fucking each other like one of us had been released from prison. We did it over and over again that night. She preferred to start on top until coming, and then let me take control from there. I slept over that night, and when we woke, she definitely didn't look as hot as she did opening the door in candy stripes. We smoked a few cigarettes, and she made some coffee, then I split to take a dump and shower before work. I told her I'd be back later, and we could have dinner again. I knew she was in town the next 2 nights, and I wanted to wear her out. Then the fun started. The unpredictable drama-filled baggage of sleeping with an escort. I knew I was walking into it, but didn't realize it'd be this soon. Around noon, she called me in hysterics after flooding her bedroom by leaving the hot tub running. She said she wanted to make sure she didn't get pregnant by soaking in hot water, but her phone rang and she poured a glass of wine and forgot. I'd only left her a few hours before, and now she was wasted drunk, laughing about how she'd fucked up another deposit. She wanted me to come over to help and wouldn't take the first several "I can'ts" seriously. I suggested she call her landlord, but she already did and still wanted me to help, like we'd been a miserable couple for years. The assumption of liability after one night in Cider was in hyperdrive, so I wrapped things up and drove to her place. When I got there, the cleanup guys were already doing their thing while she walked around the house with no shirt or bra, boobs hanging out. Naturally, they were smiling and in good spirits, but needed help moving the bed, so my timing worked out great. It was a heavy bed, and when the younger of the two picked up his side, he stepped on a huge black dildo. She started fussing at him to be careful. I noticed it there the night before and had no idea it would give these two dudes so many laughs. Eventually, the landlord showed up, and I made up an excuse to go back to work and split. The dust of that initial cluster settled, and she went to work that weekend, so I started to plan something cool for us the following week. Luckily, I had some comps to all of Harrah's hotels on the Strip and asked her if she'd like to spend a couple nights on a staycation. I told her about the specials, and she suggested we stay at Planet Hollywood because of the adult pool on the roof, and I agreed. I booked 2 nights and started looking forward to the break. The most memorable part of these couple nights, beside the constant sex which happened poolside, we got busted trying to bring our own booze to the pool, which I told her would happen, but she thought she could charm the attendant. The main pool was packed, and we walked around the whole area twice before she pointed to an empty spot near the water. I assumed she knew we weren't in the adult pool area when we plopped down in the seats, but then she took her top off. Her muscle memory kicked in, and everyone stared at her huge fake boobs. She was waving at the cocktail waitress to come by for a few minutes, but they ignored her. I started trying too, and she gave up, turned around, and jumped in the pool. When the waitress came by, she knelt down and whispered something cool enough in Maggie May's ear to make her start laughing and cover her chest. She motioned to me to give her a towel and grab our stuff to follow our new friend. The super sexy cocktail waitress brought us to the real adult pool. We ordered some drinks and quesadillas and had a blast the rest of the day. A couple weeks went by, and she booked us a room in San Diego for a few nights. We spent most of the time on the rooftop bar doing tequila shots and flirting with random couples she'd meet. I swear I thought she was planning an orgy that first night. She made friends with everyone. It did feel cool not having to be attached to a date and not be accused of wanting to fuck anyone I talked to. I knew everyone wanted to fuck her, so I'd be an idiot if I let that bother me. While I was ordering a couple of drinks, one of the guys from the group she'd met pulled me aside. He told me to go check the elevator. She was passed out, and the security guard was looking for me. I found her slumped on the floor, and security said she was riding up and down until someone alerted him. She couldn't remember what floor we were staying on, and I had the keys, so he asked me to please bring her to our room. I was able to pick her up and put her in bed, and she didn't give me a hard time. She seemed comfortable and passed out, so I made another drink and went back to the rooftop for a smoke. Shortly after getting up there and seeing the group I'd left at the bar, she came up walking up to everyone's cheers. Everyone except the security guard who was chasing behind her and wouldn't let her stay. She wasn't wearing a bra, only a thong, and I didn't want to cause a scene, so we both left again. I remember laughing hysterically in the elevator and fucking for a long time before passing out. The next day was the Padres game. I don't remember who they played, but I bought the tickets on StubHub while laying in bed with her that morning. We tried to get as close to the field as possible and found 2 tickets right behind home plate. We had fun wearing matching Padres jerseys all day like we were actual fans. Before the game, we had some appetizers and drinks on the rooftop. This time, there was a different security guard, and Maggie wasn't nearly as wasted. We didn't last long at the game because it was hot, and neither of us had a hat. The game gets exciting that close, and the couple innings we stayed had plenty of action. I was glad when she was ready to leave early to go back to the room to have sex in the oversized tub. The drive back to Vegas the next day was the last time we hung out that long because she started to get jealous and possessive. I had to block her number at some point because she got too intense. She didn't come to my house, and that was on purpose, but she did go to the bars and made a scene harassing our staff. One night, the bartender had to call security because she was drunk and being mean to them and the customers. When I watched it on the security cameras, she was wearing the same candy-striped dress with her boobs out.
Mexican aliens. Mexican government announced today for real the existence of 2 aliens, admitting they broke the seal. An entire country of good folks don't know what to think. When it comes to this topic, our attention spans shrink. Who are these aliens? Where are they from? What are they doing? Why did they come? Did they get here by accident? Did they get here alone? Did they land in the jungle, hunted by Sylvester Stallone? They keep wondering if connected to old politicians clamming up. They lose their train of thought at a vast cover-up. I don't want to be mean, but we really need to know. How many are living amongst us? I'm spreading out that dough. No history we've been told comes close to being true. There's so much we don't know. Neighbors, give us a clue. To the biggest of puzzles, why are we here? Beings from other dimensions? Please be more clear. There might be as many as 70 different species. Not knowing who is who, we're looking like lychees. What's their evolution story? Is it more simply laid out, or does it get complicated? What's this comet all about? Maybe Nishimura is coming to destroy us all, resetting life on Earth. New episodes this fall. But the part that keeps tripping me up each time I think, what's up with multidimensional? Is that why they shrink? Many instances of now exist all the time and the same time. Then why can't we get to a life without Republican crime?